everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. 15 iconic locations from your favorite James Bond movies. Unbelievable Bond destinations. Whether James Bond is leaping across ancient rooftops, racing down snowy slopes, languishing in luxurious lakeside residences, or seeking out villains' urban hideouts, one of the joys of a 007 movie is the places we get to travel to vicariously. We look at some locations around the world that have played a starring role in the movie franchise over the decades. Switzerland, with its mountain passes full of hairpin bends and snowy slopes made for chase sequences, Switzerland is a prime location for action movies. As an offshore financial center to boot, the landlocked country makes a regular appearance in James Bond movies. Key settings include Viz Gloria, a revolving restaurant on Schilthorne's summit pictured. It featured as archvillain Ernst Stavro Blofeld's lair in the 1969 film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and today the mountaintop restaurant has various themed menu items, a Bond museum, and 007 trail. The dizzying Furka Pass, which lives between the Uri and Valle cantons in south-central Switzerland, also appears in Goldfinger. While glitzy resort St. Moritz was used for thrilling ski chase sequences in both The Spy Who Loved Me and A View to a Kill, when he's not plummeting down icy slopes, Bond can be seen jumping off various buildings. In the nail-biting opener to GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan's Bond, or The Stuntman, anyway, dives off the towering Verzasca Dam near Locarno pictured. Wannabe Bonds can recreate the stunt by signing up for a bungee jump there. Japan. Like his flawed and restless hero, Ian Fleming was very well-traveled, and his explorations in Japan influenced his writing. The 1967 film You Only Live Twice was filmed in the photogenic country and sees Bond sent to Tokyo in search of the bad guys. Key locations include the city's then ultra-modern Hotel New Otani, Shinmodake Volcano in Kirishima National Park, which was the villainous Blofeld's lair, and 17th century Himeji Castle in Hyogo Prefecture pictured. The latter was used as the grand location for a ninja training school. Japan was once again the setting for a villain's lair in 2012 Skyfall. The deserted and tiny Hashima Island, a dilapidated coal mining factory just off the coast of Nagasaki, made an extremely atmospheric hideout for Bond's creepy nemesis, Raul Silva Javier Bardem. Now preserved as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the industrial wasteland is also known as Gunkanjima Battleship Island because of its shape. It's possible to visit the ghost town on guided tour with cruises departing regularly from Nagasaki's port. Jamaica. Jamaica has long been a favored location for the movie franchise. It's in the DNA, after all. As the Caribbean island was very close to creator Ian Fleming's heart, he wrote all 14 books at his home GoldenEye in Oracabessa on the northeast coast. His tropical retreat is now an upscale resort where guests can stay in the author's writing studio. Laughing Waters Beach was the setting for arguably the most famous Bond scene ever. When Honey Rider Ursula Andress emerges from the sea in the inaugural movie, Dr. No, the secret agent has returned to the island many times since, including in 1973's Live and Let Die, where Jamaica doubled as the fictional Saint Monique. The Duns River Falls, spectacular rock pools, and cascades that tumble down to the sea near Ocho Rios are one of the country's most popular sites and famously featured in Dr. No as part of the fictional Crab Key Island. So did vibrant capital Kingston, where Sean Connery filmed several scenes including at the Governor General's mansion, King's House. Away from the Bond connections, the island entrances with its jungle-clad blue mountains, plethora of palm-studded beaches, cool music scene, fantastic food, and hip hotels. It's no wonder the super sleuth keeps coming back. The tropical island also makes an appearance in the latest 007 installment. Meteora Greece. The spectacular rock pillars of Meteora are one of Greece's most unusual landscapes. Crisscrossed with ancient trails, the rocky outcrops rise out of the plains of Thessaly in central Greece and are home to one of the most important monastic communities in Europe, as well as being carved out with hermit caves. They've been crowned with lofty Eastern Orthodox monasteries since the Middle Ages, The UNESCO World Heritage Site made an appearance in For Your Eyes Only when Roger Moore's Bond scaled the sheer limestone cliff face up to the Monastery of the Holy Trinity. 6 rooftop monasteries are still in operation, and it's possible to visit them without scaling the cliff, although the ascents are pretty steep. Guided hikes are a great way to discover the landscape and its age-old hermit caves and pilgrimage paths, and sunset is an especially magical time to take in the extraordinary stone forest. More ecclesiastical sites can be found in Kalabaka, a town that lies in the shadow of the pinnacles. Its 10th century Church of the Assumption of Virgin Mary has some extraordinary frescoes. Corfu, Greece. Corfu's handsome old town also played a starring role in For Your Eyes Only. Many action sequences were filmed around its imposing old fortress, a vast complex built by the Venetians that masqueraded as Albania in the movie. They were close. Parts of this lush island are closer to Albania's sandy shores than Greece's mainland. Neoclassical mansion Aquileian Palace, just to the old town south, also featured as a casino. Little village Pagi in the northwest was the setting for a car chase. And Corfu's stunning coastline was a dramatic backdrop for some cliff-edge scuffles. Seaplane scenes reveal more of the island's idyllic tree-lined coves and azure waters. Picturesque spots include Paleo Castritza on the northwest coastline and the stunning Porta di Moni, a breathtaking double bay pictured. The best way to explore Corfu's rugged coastline is by zipping from bay to bay by boat. You can hire them at most beach towns. There are lovely spots to cool off in Corfu town too, including a swimming area beneath the old fortress where you can gaze up at the ramparts and imagine Bond racing around them. Or head to the port and hop on a ferry over to explore Albania. Mexico City, Mexico. Exuberant Dia de los Muertos Day of the Dead celebrations in Mexico City's Gran Zocalo form a stunning backdrop for the dramatic opener of Spectre 2015. With its huge flagpole and imposing buildings, including the Metropolitan Cathedral and the National Palace, the vast plaza is at the heart of the historic district and just the place to start explorations. The nearby Grand Hotel Ciudad de Mexico is where Bond slips into a hotel room with the mysterious Estrella played by Mexican-American actor Stephanie Sigmund before giving chase across rooftops. It wasn't the first time the Art Nouveau Hotel appeared in the franchise. It was also a location in License to Kill 1989. Mexico's sprawling capital has plenty to thrill with its must-see museums and galleries, eclectic barrios, and tempting food scene. You can pore over works at the Museo Frida Kahlo and Palacio de Bellas Artes, gaze at the Angel of Independence on Avenida Paseo de la Reforma, and graze your way around its lively markets. Here's rich history in this modern metropolis too. The Zocalo, built by the Spanish conquistadors over the original Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, contains the ruins of an Aztec pyramid, the Templo Mayor. To see more, take the hour trip to gaze at the awe-inspiring pyramids of the sun and moon at Teotihuacan. Lake Como, Italy. Italy and its beautiful lakes have been the location for many of Bond's escapades. Magnet for the rich, the famous, and for supervillains too. Lake Como made a suitably glam appearance in 2006's Casino Royale. The lake's deep blue waters are backed by the Alps, and its wooded shores are home to numerous ritzy residences, including the opulent Villa Balbianello pictured. Sitting on a promontory on the western shore, the Villa's beautiful terrace gardens were the location for several scenes that can be visited on guided tour. Villa Lagata in San Siro, a private 1920-era mansion built to resemble a medieval castle, also appears as the setting for Bond's climactic battle with Mr. White. Boat is the most practical and pleasurable way to get around the 20-mile-long 32 kilometers lake, so hire a motorboat or taxi boat to speed, 007 style. Between mansions and pretty lakeside towns such as Bellagio and Verona pictured, which clings to a rocky headland opposite. There are plenty of swanky lakeside spots to stop for martinis and seafood lunches, and to explore cobbled lanes for hidden-away trysts and old-school trattorias. Another of Como's historic lakeside mansions is the exquisite Villa Carlotta with its lush gardens. Keep the thrills going like Bond by catching a train to Venice. whose canals, palazzi, and piazzas also dazzled in Casino Royale and a good few other Bond movies. Sienna Italy. The next installment keeps us in Italy with Bond driving from a car chase in Lake Garda to Siena with Mr. White in his trunk at the start of 2008's Quantum of Solace. The hilltop Tuscan city is a stunning setting for a high-octane chase across ancient rooftops during its famous biannual bareback horse race, which takes place in the Piazza del Campo. The movie crew had special permission to film the Polio, which takes place in July and August. All cobbled alleys in Siena's Corfu Center lead to the Piazza del Campo, a vast shell-shaped square lined with medieval palaces and cafes. The Grand Tour del Mondo looms above the Palazzo Pubblico and is the place to head for fantastic views. The medieval stronghold, which retains its old walls, is made up of 17 districts controlled all with a fierce sense of identity. 10 of them compete against each other in the horse race, which has taken place since the 17th century. Wander around the back streets to spot each contrada's symbols. Siena's other landmarks are its striking 13th century cathedral and Monte dei Paschi di Siena, the world's oldest bank. London, UK. For all his foreign forays, the British secret agent always returns home, more often than not reporting into London's MI6 HQ. Bond creator Ian Fleming was born in Mayfair. You can see a blue plaque at 20 to be Adbury Street, which was his home between 1934 and 1945, and drink Vesper martinis at Duke's London. Fleming frequented the hotel for its shaken, not stirred dry martinis, which were to become Bond's signature drink. The well-heeled neighborhood has also played host to various nighttime liaisons in the books and movies. For example, a set was built to resemble exclusive casino Les Ambassadeurs Club in Dr. No. The capital's most expansive and dramatic appearance was in the opening sequence of The World Is Not Enough 1999. After launching onto the river from Thames House, real-life HQ of MI5, Bond races along the River Thames past the Houses of Parliament, under its famous bridges, and through the horrifying docklands to the Millennium Dome. Recreate the scene Bond music and all on a speedboat with Thames Rib experience. Even when it doesn't have a starring role, London has been present in GoldenEye, for example, the Langham, Somerset House, and St. Sophia Church in Moscow Road all doubled as St. Petersburg. Scotland, UK. The World Is Not Enough also takes viewers far north of London and to Eilandonan, a 13th century castle in the Western Highlands which stars as the Scottish HQ of MI6. Once again, Scotland's stunning wilderness makes a star turn in 2012 Skyfall when Bond and M travel along the road to Lochative to hide out in the agent's former family home, Skyfall Lodge. While the remote lodge was a studio construction, its location was real. It was filmed in Glen Etive, just near the roaded mountains of Glencoe. The narrow and windy road that Bond and M drive along to his rundown family lodge starts at the 82 and goes for around 12 miles 20 kilometers along the River Etive to spectacular Sea Loch Etive. It's a stunning route through the Highlands and has become a popular scenic drive since the movie's release. More of Scotland's majestic lochs and wild, craggy scenery will be on show in no time to die with high-speed car chase scenes filmed in the Cairngorms National Park, a ravishing mountain wilderness in the heart of the Scottish Highlands. Udaipur, India. The romantic palaces and dreamy waterways of Rajasthan's ravishing city Udaipur have long captured travelers' and artists' imaginations. It mesmerized viewers in Octopussy when its lake palace, one-time summer residence of the city's rulers, appeared as the opulent home of the movie's eponymous wealthy businesswoman. The floating 18th century palace, which is set on an island in Lake Pihola, is now part of the luxury Taj Hotel group. The old laneways of the so-called Venice of the East also featured extensively in the 1983 movie. A boat trip around Lake Pihola is a must. From the water you can see the many lakeside palaces, bathing ghats and temples that line its emerald green waters. The most magnificent of them all is the honey-colored city palace, built in the 16th century and home to generations of Maharanas. Made up of 11 different Mahal's smaller palaces, it's the largest palace complex in Rajasthan. Losing yourself in the old city's tangle of lanes and bustling bazaars is another essential on any Udaipur itinerary, as it's taking a breather in its serene gardens such as the Sahelian Ki Bari on the banks of Fateh Sagar Lake. Thailand. The ethereal limestone karst towers of Thailand's Phang Nga Bay feature prominently in 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun, appearing as Bond flies over to Scaramanga's island. The real-life rocky islands of Khao Phin and Koh Tao Phu doubled as the hideout of the assassin, played brilliantly by Christopher Lee. Back then, this area of natural beauty in the Strait of Malacca was little known, but now its islands attract scores of visitors. Khao Phin has even been renamed James Bond Island. The hectic waterways of Bangkok also starred in the movie as the setting for a thrilling, multi-vehicle chase. The high-speed chase scenes take place along the Chao Phraya River, passing some of the city's notable landmarks, including its colorful floating markets, namely Dam Non Sadak, palatial riverside Mandarin Oriental Hotel, and one of its oldest temples, Wat Sathet with its giant swing. Movie makers return to shoot in Phang Nga Bay for 1997's Tomorrow Never Dies. Bahamas. A string of idyllic islands, the beautiful Bahamas makes plenty of appearances in the Bond movie franchise. Thunderball 1965, The Spy Who Loved Me 1977, and Never Say Never Again 1983 all featured some filming on location in the Caribbean archipelago. Capital Nassau, with its yacht-filled harbor and glitzy resorts, appears many times, including in Thunderball's underwater fight. The port city on New Providence Island was also home to Bond star Sean Connery, who was a longtime resident in its ultra-exclusive Lifford K Club. Casino Royale also takes in Nassau and Paradise Island, which is just off the northern coast of Providence Island and home to some seriously elegant resorts, including the Ocean Club, now part of the Four Seasons Group. Daniel Craig's Bond arrives at the exclusive beachfront hotel by seaplane, with several scenes taking place in his swanky suite and the resort's beautiful gardens. Make like Bond and check in here or at the island's other super resort, Atlantis. The waters off Nassau are a top spot for diving to. The two wrecks that appeared in Never Say Never Again and Thunderball can be visited with Stuart Cove's Dive Bahamas. Istanbul, Turkey. Istanbul is another handsome and history-rich city that has captivated Bond location scouts over the decades. The Turkish city dazzles in From Russia with Love, The World Is Not Enough, and Skyfall. The latter thrills viewers with spectacular city scenes that include a nail-biting chase sequence across the roof of the sprawling 15th-century Grand Bazaar and around Eminönü Square and the new mosque in its old city. Set on the Bosphorus Straits, the East meets West metropolis stuns with its heady, spice-scented bazaars, labyrinthine streets, and awe-inspiring Ottoman era architecture. The Blue Mosque, the Hagia Sophia, and the Topkapi Palace are its big hitters. A cruise out on the Bosphorus is another city essential, as is time spent exploring its treasure-stuffed museums. Set aside plenty of hours to marvel at the riches within the Istanbul Archaeology Museums and the Turkish and Islamic Arts Museum. Meteora, Italy. Perched on a rocky outcrop on the edge of a sharp ravine, the southern Italian city of Meteora has lured plenty of movie makers with its spectacular setting, well-worn alleyways, and atmospheric, sassy ancient cave dwellings. But the makers of Bond truly put photogenic Meteora on the map when No Time to Die, starring Daniel Craig and Lee Seydoux, was released. The spy resumes his lifelong love affair with Italy, and the Basilicata Beauty is one of the movie's primary locations. The UNESCO World Heritage Site is the setting for a high-speed car chase scene, naturally featuring the secret agents Aston Martin pictured here during filming. Meteora's 13th-century Romanesque cathedral and sassy districts are a spectacular backdrop. The Sasso Cavioso and Sasso Barisano quarters were once makeshift homes for the town's underprivileged. Now these age-old dwellings house restaurants, bars, and hotels, including the charming Sextantio Le Grotte dello Civita. There are also more than 100 rock-hewn churches, including the largest, 12th-century Chiesa San Pietro Barisano. Thanks for watching.